He was the king of London finance. She was a genius art dealer from Italy. Their first meeting cost him $1 million, but the real price turned out to be much higher. Rival did everything to destroy their dreams, but he miscalculated one thing. That true love is willing to make the ultimate sacrifice. Part 1. The London Gamble. The rain-slicked streets of London gleamed under the sodium lights, a stark contrast to the sterile brightness of the high-stakes poker room at the Dorchester. Here, under the crystal chandeliers, two worlds were about to collide. Alexander Xander Thorne was a man who calculated odds for a living. As London's most successful hedge fund manager, his mind was a supercomputer for risk and reward. Across the green baize table sat Isabella Rossi, an art dealer from Florence whose family had been trading beauty for centuries. She was in London to acquire a rare Renaissance sketch, and the private poker game was her unconventional method of funding it. Their first encounter was a duel of wits. Xander played with mathematical precision, his every move predictable yet unbeatable. Bell played with intuition, a master of psychology who could read bluffs in the subtle tremor of a hand. They were the last two players, the pot astronomical. All in, Xander said, his voice calm as he pushed his remaining chips forward. Bell met his gaze, her dark eyes sparkling with challenge. "I see your bet, Mr. Thorne," she called, revealing a straight flush. Xander showed his full house. Beaten. For the first time in years, someone had outplayed him. He found her later in the hotel bar studying the sketch she'd won with his money. "That's a Cellini," he said, surprising her. "A preliminary study for his Perseus. My family used to collect." "Used to?" she asked, arching an eyebrow. "The Thorne collection was sold off piece by my father. Business, he called it. I've been trying to buy it back ever since." Subscribe to the channel and like it. This shared losses of family art, hers of the sketch she now had to sell to save her gallery, became an unexpected bridge. He proposed a business partnership. He would fund her gallery expansion in exchange for her expertise in rebuilding his collection. It was a transaction, pure and simple. Or so they thought. Their work began in the hallowed halls of auction houses and the dusty backrooms of collectors. Xander was all data and prudence. Bell was all passion and instinct. They argued constantly. "This attribution is questionable," he'd say, pointing to scientific analysis. "I don't need carbon dating to feel its truth," she'd counter, her fingers hovering over the canvas. The tension was a living thing between them, a blend of professional respect and a powerful, unacknowledged attraction. During a late night at his Mayfair penthouse, surrounded by auction catalogues, their carefully constructed professional walls crumbled. The rain pattered against the floor-to-ceiling windows, the lights of London a distant glitter. They were arguing about a disputed Caravaggio when he suddenly fell silent, his gaze dropping to her lips. Subscribe to the channel and like it. "This is a terrible idea," he murmured, his voice husky as he closed the distance between them. The worst, she agreed, but she was already leaning in. The kiss was not gentle. It was a release of weeks of pent-up tension, a collision of two opposing forces. It was hungry and desperate, his hands tangling in her hair, hers clutching at his shirt, pulling him closer. Edges scattered to the floor, forgotten. It was a surrender to an impulse more powerful than any calculation, a gamble with higher stakes than any poker game. Part 2. The Heart's Prudence. Subscribe to the channel and like it. The morning after changed everything and nothing. The professional partnership remained, but now it was underscored by a new, electric intimacy. Their business meetings now stretched into weekends at his country estate, where work and pleasure became inextricably linked. It was in his private library there, surrounded by the ghosts of his family's lost collection, that their relationship deepened into something more profound. He showed her the one piece he'd managed to reclaim, a small, exquisite bronze. She saw not the asset, but the boy who had loved it, the man who longed for his heritage. One evening, by the fire, the atmosphere shifted from passion to tenderness. The frantic energy of their first time was replaced by a slow, deliberate exploration. He undressed her with a reverence usually reserved for the art they cherished, his fingers tracing the lines of her body as if memorizing its unique movements. His lips followed a slow, worshipful path from her collarbone to the delicate skin of her inner thigh, each kiss a silent promise. When they finally joined, it was with a deep, aching slowness that felt less like passion and more like coming home. The world narrowed to the feel of his skin against hers, the soft sounds of their breathing, the profound connection that transcended the physical. They fell asleep tangled together, the fire casting dancing shadows over them, two lonely collectors who had finally found something priceless in each other. The real crisis came when Xander's biggest rival, a ruthless tech billionaire, discovered their plan to acquire the final piece of the Thorn collection, a legendary diamond that had belonged to his mother. The rival bid against them at every turn, driving the price into the stratosphere, a personal vendetta played out in the auction house. Thunder was prepared to bankrupt himself. It's not just a diamond, Belle. It's my past. And what about our future? She asked softly. The gallery, our life together. In a stunning move, Belle withdrew all her gallery's funds from the auction. She sacrificed her own dream to save his. Some things, she told the stunned Xander, are more important than reclaiming the past. It's about building a new one. Her act of selfless love broke the cycle. Touched by her sacrifice, the diamond's owner, an elderly widow, sold it to them privately for a fraction of the price. True value, she told Xander, isn't always found in a price tag. A year later, the Thorn collection was publicly reinstated in a dedicated wing of a major museum. At the opening night gala, under the brilliant glow of the fully restored collection, Xander led Belle to the center of the room. He didn't get down on one knee. Instead, he simply opened a velvet box. Inside, next to his mother's diamond, was a simple modern band. The past is finally where it belongs, he said, his voice clear and strong. Now I want to build a future with you. Her yes was lost in the applause, but the kiss they shared was a masterpiece all its own, a perfect blend of calculated risk and priceless reward, proving that the greatest collection one could ever build was a life filled with love. Subscribe to the channel and like it.